Muhammad Umar Farooq biological video. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. Ask the question for answer and comment about the artwork. You can also question answer to each other for solving the problem. So today we will discuss about the bryophytes, that is also known as moss or amphibian plant. Amphibian mean that's a frog-like because it's live into the water for reproduction, but it can be produce sporophyte during a dry weather or some moisty weather. So that's amphibian plant or bryophyte is sporophyte and gametophyte generation. So the here is the gametophyte and sporophyte looking like that. So the gametophyte plant is produce the sporophyte and sporophyte produce the gametophyte, and this alternation of generation, these 1 and 2 and generation is known as alternation of generation. So that sporophyte is here's growth, and that sporophyte will be produced. And here's the gametophyte, and that is rhizoid are present in the between below of the which that is the substratum attachment. So where is the gametophyte is present? In this thallus. Thallus mean the without leaf shoot root is the plant body is known as thallus. So that is the occurrence. Here is the gametophyte or amphibian plant live in the water, moist and damp surface, normal temperature, which that is used the preference of the gametophytes, and that's bryophyte. And we will talk about the hornwort example. For example, so this hornwort is for that is the horn-like structure produce the sporophyte. So that is here is the antheridium which produces sperm. This sperm is the multiflagellated, and this is known as antheridium and covered by the different sperm will be produced, and this egg is known as the oogonium or archegonium. The oogonium are present, and this archegonium is known as well antheridium and archegonium. Archegonium is the female reproductive system, and antheridium is the male reproductive organ. So that's here is the one an egg, haploid egg and haploid sperm multiflagellated with fertilization to produce fertilization. After the fertilization to produce sporophytes, and this sporophyte will be diploid. It means that number of chromosome will be double again, and this sporophyte will be produce the spores. So here is I am drawing the sporophyte, and this sporophyte contain food, meristem, sporogenous cells, and here is the stomata. Thus, why stomata are present is the stem. So it's true because stomata is this is a green color, and that's not a woody or not a leaves more prominent. So that stomata is all over the stem. Some plant is also exist, but here is the bryophyte is exists obviously. So that's here is the basically uh, pseudolateral is present is here, and there's a columella is known as, and the spore will be produced from here, you can see, and that is tetrads will be formed, and this tetrad will be germinate in the form of either male is also are present in the same plant, and female organ is also present because it is collapse. It means the divide, but it's collapse, and protonema will be produced, and this protonema will be hornwort gametophyte, for example. That is gametophyte, and this gametophyte produce again the thallus is known as thallophytes. So that plant which contain thallus is not true leaf shoot system. That is mean as is known as the thallophyte. So bryophyte is the thallophyte. Algae is the thallophyte. So remember about these things. So stem anatomy we will talk about here is the sporophytes. Sporophytes mean that plant which produce spores is known as sporophytes. So contain lead capsule which produce spores, and say here is the sporophytes, and leaves, rhizoids, and main axis are present, and that is attached the sporophyte with the seta, and the CT different basically. So there is a locule spores which that is present is here, and the epigonium is present which that is covered is known as also lid, which there's a rupture to release the spores during the dry time, and that's again will be moist time, again rainy season will produce the bryophyte when that temperature will be favorable. So that here is the stem anatomy is looking like that, and that here is the bryophyte which contain rhizoids and leaves and stem, and these leaves and stem is here, and that is we will discuss the different stem area with the cross section of it. So here is the first cross section in the upper part of the stem is look like this, that is the large epidermis cells and vascularization. Here is the inner cortex is less as compared to the hair, and here the down cross section show that the hypodermis, epidermis and cortex. So the cortex will be formed here, and the leaves will be germinated by the below of the stem cross section. So discuss about here we will discuss about that is the cross section of the below of the stem. So here is the structure which that is the pseudo leaf trace. So that pseudo leaf trace will be form the precursor of the leaf during the evolutionary process of the plant during the terrestrial environment. So the here is the inner cortex is more bigger than the upper part of the stem. Uh, Inner cortex, and here is the outer cortex. Cortex mean what is the cortex? Well, cortex contain a parenchyma cell, and that is why it's known as parenchymatous cell. So parenchymatous cell is a living cell, and there here is not woody stem, so it is herbaceous stem, or xylem and phloem is in the form of ground tissue, and that is scattered around the stem. It's not arranged like a angiosperm and gymnosperm, which that is look like a ring-like structure, and secondary growth is not present, not shown in for it. So here is the classification other green algae, which there is a green algae is going into the Cara and Coleochaeta and other bryophytes. So that's going into the cuticles, sporophytes, multicellular gametangia are present, that is. And is the different type is known as the most liverworts and hornworts. So the liverworts, the liver-like structure, hornworts is the uh, horn-like structure, most is the most which that are present in the damp area. And that is the here is the Triodophyte is a further evolutionary process to adopt and decrease the gametophytic generation, and that's a sporophytic generation increase, and terrestrial adaptation is known as vascular plant is grow wood, and gymnosperm and angiosperm is a seed producing plant will be arise from the Triodophytes. So that is the character of these. So the lining is why it's important to understand. Lining is important part for vascular plant for hardening. So the lining in the wood is create the hardness, and at least 475 million years ago that was the bryophyte at present arise and their time. And here we will discuss about the briefly about the sex organ of the bryophyte. So the bryophyte contain a water, use water to release the sperm into the water for the fertilization that go into the archegonium. Archegonium produce sperm attractant. That sperm attractant chemical will be received to the sex organ of the here is the rain will be produced, and there's water will be received and sperm move toward the archegonium for fertilization. So the chemotaxis movement, that is known as the chemotactic movement, for the movement of sperm toward the archegonium. So archegonium release the attractant as a chemicals which that's used for the attraction. So here is the we will discuss about the archegonium. That was the antheridium, and here is the archegonium. The archegonium contain one nuclei is known as the egg, and the upper part is known as the cover cell, while the down is the here the neck canal, and the neck canal contain here is the inside contain a chemical which released during the used for the fertilization after the raining season. So the water will be floating into the water. Water is more for use for the sperm movement, ciliary movement. So here the egg cell is here, and here is a venter. So the venter and neck region is here, and here is the cover cells. So remember about these things. Now we will discuss about the life cycle of the bryophytes. That will be important for us to understand the alternation of generation. What is the meaning of alternation of generation? The alternation of generation means number of haploid generation to create a diploid generation. What is the mean? Haploid mean the number of chromosome will be half, while the diploid generation means the number of chromosome will be double. For example, we are 46 chromosome will separate into the 23 to 23 in the form of pair. There's a divide in the form of sperm is known as the haploid. When again will be zygote formation is known as diploid. So here is the life cycle. We'll produce the zygote by the fertilization of gametophyte, produce sperm and egg. This fertilization give a zygote 2n. It means the number of chromosome will be in the form of pair. And germination, sporangiophore will be formed, and this sporangiophore will be 2n to produce spores by the meiosis to 1n. And this 1n will be gametophyte, and this male and female produce sexual organ to produce again the cycle.